US-backed Kurdish forces today broke through an overrun Syrian prison where Islamic State fighters had been holed up with hundreds of children. The Ghwayran prison in the city of Hasakeh, Syria was understood to hold about 3,500 IS inmates when the terror group launched their initial attack on January 20 with suicide bombers ramming into the walls with explosive-laden vehicles. The brazen prison break efforts by the Islamic State left more than 180 dead in what was described as the jihadists' most high-profile military operation in 3 years. Around 700 boys, dubbed the Cubs of the Caliphate, were held hostage by the terror group's fighters as human shields during intense skirmishes, sources said. But on Wednesday Farhad Shami, a spokesman for the Syrian Democratic Forces militia, said that 6 days of fighting had ended with the group taking entire control of the makeshift jail. Mr. Shami tweeted, "The People's Hammer operation has culminated with our entire control of the Al-Sina prison in al-Hasakeh and the surrendering of all Daesh terrorists." Kurdish authorities claim no inmates have escaped from the compound, but watchdogs including the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights warn significant numbers of potential terrorists had managed to flee. The SDF, aided by U.S. troops and air support, began storming the prison on Monday and suffocated all supplies of food and water into the facility for 2 days. With U.S. and other foreign forces stepping in to support Kurdish elite units, the neighborhoods in northeast Syria's largest city were secured as the besieged militants inside the prison started turning themselves in. The SDF, the semi-autonomous Kurdish administration's de facto army, had said earlier on Wednesday that more than 1,000 IS inmates had surrendered to them. Fighting in and around the prison since Thursday has killed 181 people, including 124 IS jihadists, 50 Kurdish fighters and 7 civilians, according to the observatory. There has been no update on the condition of the roughly 850 children who lived alongside the near 5,000 prisoners held inside the jail, with some feared to have been caught in the crossfire. Thousands of Hasakeh residents were forced out of their homes after at least 100 IS fighters stormed the facility last Thursday in their biggest show of force since 2018. In one mosque located at a safe distance from the chaos, hundreds of women and children were huddled together in the biting winter cold. "We want to go back home," said Maya, a 38-year-old mother trying in vain to pacify her youngest, adding that there is no bread, water or sugar here. A tense standoff has gripped the prison in recent days, with Kurdish forces and their IS foes aware they were facing either a bloodbath or talks to end the fighting. The SDF has been reluctant to refer to talks between them and IS fighters, and it remains unclear exactly what led to the end of the attack. Observatory head Rami Abdul Rahman said a Syrian IS member had negotiated with Kurdish forces to end the standoff and secure medical care for wounded jihadists. Since Monday, Kurdish forces had freed at least 32 prison staff, some of whom appeared in video footage that IS had shared on social media after launching the attack. Ghwayran is the prison with the largest number of suspected IS members in Syria, and with experts warning the jailbreak must serve as a wake-up call for Western authorities. More than 50 nationalities are represented in Kurdish-run prisons holding more than 12,000 IS suspects. The Kurdish administration has long warned it does not have the capacity to hold, let alone put on trial, all the IS fighters captured in years of operations. This issue is an international problem, the administration's top foreign policy official, Abdul Karim Omar, told AFP on Wednesday. We cannot face it alone. He called on the international community to support the autonomous administration to improve security and humanitarian conditions for inmates in detention centers and for those in overcrowded camps. The proto-state declared by IS in 2014 once straddled large parts of Iraq and Syria. After 5 years of military operations conducted by local and international forces, its last rump was eventually flushed out on the banks of the Euphrates in eastern Syria in March 2019.